Someone in your church had a problem this week. Who will help?
One of the metaphors that I've used often in my teaching to describe the church is to ask people, is your church a hospital or a country club? And oftentimes we can think about the church more as a country club. This is where socially well-adjusted people gather to complement one another and to have a good time. And when people who are hurting, who are broken, who are struggling with sin, experience some kind of suffering show up, we can almost, without knowing it, say, what are they doing here? Now, this is a country club. They belong at the hospital. And what we're after is creating a culture in the local church that makes it possible for people who are broken, and ultimately that's all of us, understand that we're at the right place when we show up at church on Sunday or when we gather with God's people in a small group. I'm at the right place.
CCEF small group resources equip churches with in-depth training that applies biblical truth to everyday life.
This material helps the church because it's putting user-friendly tools in the hands of pastors, leaders, small group leaders, lay people, so that they can begin to connect the dots of the grace of Christ to their lives in terms of, well, how does this change the way that I relate to my child, my spouse, this brother and sister in Christ, so that I can be a positive part of their sanctification, their growth in grace. We are participating in something utterly amazing. My relationship with you, your relationship with me, is either helping or hindering me from becoming more like Jesus Christ. One of the things that these pieces of curriculum can do is provide an opportunity for people to intentionally gather together and discuss the matters that really are important to us as human beings. What does it mean to love other people? What does it mean to understand who God is, to love Him, to have Him change us as we're in relationship with Him? So just that in and of itself is a profound thing for people to be doing. When people have a problem, the last person that they initially seek out help from is a professional, a counselor. They're typically talking to friends and family members. And so you can see then why this material is so important. If people are turning to friends and family members first, if those friends and family members have been equipped well, if they understand God's love for them in Christ, and they've been equipped to help someone else understand that and grow in that, then all of a sudden you have all kinds of people helping one another, and that help is meaningful, it's Christ-centered. You have a lot of problems that are being dealt with long before they become crises. We want to see this change process be something that the church is highly skilled at, so that when someone has a problem, the first place that they go for help is the church, not the last place.
How People Change introduces the biblical principles of how Christ changes people by His grace. Instruments in the Redeemer's Hands teaches Christians how they can be used in other people's lives. Change in Your Relationships explores how God uses relationships in a grace-filled community. When I'm Afraid explores lifelong patterns of worry and replaces them with peace. Crossroads walks addicts through a 10-step gospel-centered process of change.